Hello, everybody. My name is Angela Marconi, and I'm going to be your instructor for our new course, which is American Popular Music History. Before we begin, I just want to tell you how thrilled I am that you decided to take this course. I think you're going to find it fun and exciting as we move along together, looking at the past history and bringing ourselves all the way up to date to the current popular music that we listen to. Now, before we get started, I just also want to tell you that it's important to me that you are interactive in this course with me. So even in this preemptory presentation that I'm giving you, you're going to have some homework to do before we get started. So let's take a look at the presentation that I prepared for you. I'm going to change the slide now, and I'm going to ask you to start right away by reflecting on what you think your views are of what popular music is. For example, if you look at the slide, how do you define it? Is the concept of popular music the same throughout the world? Let's take Chinese pop and American pop, for example. Do you believe that they're both the same? Could you compare and contrast those two forms of music and find out for sure what you might know about popular music? Is it the same? One of the ways we can do that is through using a Venn diagram. But before you do the Venn diagram, I want you to take a piece of paper and at the top make two columns and label it Chinese and American. And I want you to think about the music on each side and what you find that will be similar or different in the music. So I created my own list, and I came up with things like, well, what I know in popular music is that, and you can look at the slide here, there are catchy melodies that seem to be repeated over and over. There's a chorus. The instruments are usually the same. The lyrics are very, very important. So as you go through and create your list, then I want you to create your Venn diagram. In the center of the Venn diagram, as you know, because I'm sure you've been doing Venn diagrams since you're in middle school and your teachers have told you a Venn diagram is a good way to compare and contrast an idea. So in the center of your diagram, I want you to list all the things that you found that were the same. And then on the outer sides of the circles, you're going to label the top Chinese and the other side of the outer circle American. And I want you to list the things that you found were different. So this will give you a good overview in your own mind of what you believe is the same throughout the world concerning popular music. Here's a slide just to give you a little guide to what you need to do before you reach your final filled-in Venn diagram. So this is my example where I'm saying music is heard on the radio. There's a good hook. It's easy to follow. Young people love listening to it, and me too. There's usually a microphone, a guitar, drums, keyboard. Those are similar instruments used in all popular music. But some of the things that are different are, of course, American music, the lyrics are in English. And in Chinese music, the lyrics may not be in English, but they're in Chinese or some form of language that's closely related to the Chinese language. Some of the other things that could be different is in Chinese pop music, there could be different instruments, or we call them instruments that are indigenous to that area or region. So hopefully this has given you an opportunity right away to get started and understand how you can compare and contrast music and its development. I often ask myself, well, how much music could be out there? How could it be so different? There's only so many notes. And as we know in American music, there is the scale that is used encompasses only a certain number of notes. And we label them A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then you start reusing those notes at a higher or a lower level as you're composing or creating your music. So we combine those and find out, well, there's only so many combinations, so that's why popular music sometimes sounds very familiar. We also look at the instruments used when we're creating a piece of music to say, if I'm going to create a popular piece of music, what instruments should I be using? So it kind of goes by a set of rules. Also, there has to be a concept in the music that's being created. What is my end goal? What do I want this music to be about? So I apply those rules and the theory and my concept, and I come up with a piece of music. And then throughout history, what we find out is if you're going back and researching it or looking at it, everything then gets placed in a category or a particular genre. So those are some of the things that we'd be discovering as we go through music. How did one genre affect another? So we may start as early as spiritual music and find out how did that develop into blues music. The other thing that we do in the course, which I kind of enjoy doing myself, is looking at those people who are rebels or radicals. And I don't mean that they did something bad or something wrong, but they challenged the common notions of what was set forth before them. For example, you'll see I have a person's name listed on this slide, Arnold Schoenberg. And during his time, he was considered a radical because he knew all the rules, but he wanted to step outside of those rules and be more creative with his own thoughts and ideas. And the result of that is he created something called the 12-tone system. And also what was important is that he would live during a time called the Expressionistic movement. So he was really interested in stepping outside of what was happening and creating something new. Throughout my slides, as we work together, you will see that I will have links also to places that you can go and listen to music that we're talking about. Now, in my case, I usually look through YouTube, so I know there you may have to look on another site to be able to find this music, and we'll work together to make sure that you can find those sites as we go along. Here's another radical person that I like to look at, and his name was John Cage. And I want you to take some time to go out and look at his bio as we talk about him in our actual class setting. And then I also want you to go and listen to his recording of 4.33. Now, 4.33 was the length of time that it took for his recording. So I'm not going to tell you too much about what happened, but what I am going to tell you is that it's a very radical piece of music, and it will be amazing to you what you find when you actually listen to it. You can see that he was influenced by Arnold Schoenberg, and he was also influenced by Buddhism and Zen, or presence of mind. So that's what was going on during his time of musical creation. I really encourage you to listen to this piece. I think you'll be quite pleasantly surprised. Another person that I find is what we would call a rebel was Elvis Presley. I know you've heard of him, and he was very big in the 1950s, and he actually paved the way for today's rock musicians, for them to be able to express themselves the way they do. And he was radical in the sense that he was one of the first guys on TV back in the 1950s when TV became popular. To see him on TV, this young white boy singing blues music was unheard of. And so he created quite a stir in the community. You'll see I have a link to his biography. So again, during our meetings, you'll be able to go out and look at this person's biography. And also down here, I have a link. And if you cannot access that link, I encourage you to go and look up the song That's All Right by Elvis Presley and watch him perform it on the stage. And I think you'll understand why he made such a big change in the development of our American music history. So how can you tell the story? Well, we need to set a start point, and that's why you're here with me now. We're going to create an informed list of listening examples together, and we're going to look at society and art during the development of each genre and find out that that really plays a big role on how American music history has developed. And we're going to follow the path of changes together. So here's your assignment. Before we get together the first time, I want you to sit down and I want you to make a list of songs that you think might represent the genres that we're going to talk about. So I'll go through the next couple of slides and allow you to jot these down. And I want you to find some listening examples, for example, as you see on the screen, of spirituals, blues, country music, things that you think might represent these genres. I'll click through the next few slides just to give you an opportunity to see the list of things I'd like you to gather. And then, of course, you can come back and look at this at your own pace and write these down. Also, make sure you're looking at today's popular artists and including them on your list. It's very important that you find the music that you enjoy listening to so we can talk about its development as well. So this is it. We're going to learn about American music history together. I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome. We're at the beginning of some great discoveries, and I can't wait to get started with you. I'll see you in there.